I like the taste of persimmons, but they're tough to eat. I got too many seeds. That one's not ripe. Boy, it's astringent. The sourwoods sure are pretty. They turn, eventually they'll turn a deep red. Right now they're sort of an orangish red. There's a lot of them in here. Just everywhere. So this little nuke here is healthy. They're queen right. They're doing what they're supposed to, but they are extremely lightweight. And man, I don't know if they are big enough and heavy enough to make it through winter by themselves. They may be, but I know that they would do better wintered on a double screen and on top of another hive, big, heavy, strong colony that's got basically a heat source rising up. So all of these little nukes, if they're not big enough to make into a double, I'm gonna go ahead and stick them on double screens and get them on top of other colonies. Move them to other yards and condense the entrances down like I did this one with a couple of door shims. That'll give them the best chance to make it through winter. Not just make it through winter, but to make it to spring and actually be able to grow. So this is a fair-sized nuke. They've got quite a few bees. It's very lightweight. There's no way that it's heavy enough to make it through winter. I don't know that wintering it on a double screen is going to help it that much. So I just gave it a gallon of feed, and I'm putting a Hive Life fondant patty on there. Feed rim, close them back up. And I really do like these fondant patties. I think they're a very smart packaging. It's already inverted sugar, so the bees don't have to work to eat it. They don't have to do anything to it. They just consume it, and they do well with it. So I've never fed it this early in the year, but I think it's prudent on these small ones. Just trying to nurse every colony through that I can. And I'm gonna lose some. That one right there is just a cup full of bees, or a couple of cupfuls of bees. There's no way it's gonna be viable. But they're flying, they're trying. Getting a little bit of food and watch them die. Long, slow death instead of shaking them out now. Most of them look okay though. Thing heats up fast. I don't feel like I've had this instant vape long enough to say anything definitive about it, but I really like it. It's convenient. Really, really convenient. So when I use inner covers, and I may move away from inner covers and telescoping tops over time, it's just very convenient to use migratories. It's less equipment overall, but you can see I get a full ½ inch clearance on top here, and it needs to be a ½ inch. That ensures you get a lot of bees up here. They can use it as an upper entrance. It also gives you enough room to put one of these Hive Live fondant patties up on top of your inner cover, and you don't need a feed shim. Now these small nukes, I want to maintain ventilation. I don't want to close off the ability for moisture to escape this hive. So I've just cut this thing in half. And the other way that you do it is you can just peel back. You cut three sides of a square and peel back and then set it over the inner cover. And then the bees can't get up here, but they can get into the fondant. But with this, I think they'll come up and eat that fondant, but I'll still be able to move moisture out. We'll see. I'm playing around with this.
That's not good.
Looks like I've got some deformed wing in there. That's not good at all. So I shot this yard with OAV yesterday, and I'm gonna come through this morning and grade hives out. I'm just gonna pull the closure out, look for mite drop, and if they're average, they don't get anything. If they're bad, they get a red push pin. And if they're good, they get a green push pin. They gotta be really good to get a green though. They gotta have almost nothing. I did my summer mite treatments in July and August, and I'm using OAV strategically. It doesn't build up in comb. It's gentle on the bees, but it is not a super effective mite treatment for that time of year. So my goal is to build a mite resistance breeding program, and I need some mite pressure in order to do that. You need something to measure, and you need some pressure there. And I think using OAV is allowing me to do that, but it's a balancing act. Like, I saw a bee yesterday that had deformed wing virus on a landing board at one hive that was huge. There's a deer blowing at me over there. They're moving this morning. I thought she was gonna run out there, but she's not. So that's got me wondering and a little worried that maybe I didn't reduce the mite populations hard enough, quick enough. So being able to gather information on every colony by shooting them with OAV makes me feel better. If I've pulled in mite bombs from robbed out colonies or something like that, I'll find that today. I will find those colonies for sure. Well, that's not a good sign. It's not terrible, but that's quite a few. That one's not bad. Not too bad. Got a few there. It's more than I'd like to see. This hive is feisty, and they had a high mite load in summer, and they've still got a higher mite load. They're already in an outyard, so their drones can't mate with my mating yard next spring, but they will be one of the ones that I just bust up completely and use their assets to make new hives with. This one also had it's a strong colony. I've got a nuke on top of them, but they also had a pretty high mite load. They're probably not as bad as they were, but still not good. This one's got almost nothing in it. Wow. Yeah, they'll get a green pin. So this is the colony that was real small coming out of winter. They grew huge. I had to equalize into them a couple times, boost them with some brood frames. They had like 6 supers of honey, huge population. And yesterday I saw a bee with deformed wing virus on their landing board. So I'm afraid of what I'm gonna find here, yeah. That's what I was afraid of. I think this sampling technique lets you find your problems. I don't know if they robbed another hive out, or if I just didn't know that they had this much of a problem before, because I had to replace their bottom board and there were bees under here. Bees were coming under the bottom board earlier in the season, and I guess they could have been cleaning those mites off when I was checking. but it's obvious that they've got a major problem there. And that's in contrast to hive like that one with 2 green pens that looks like this at this time of year. You know, big difference there. So my working theory is that hive beetles can sense when a colony is stressed, and they all accumulate in the stressed colonies and then overwhelm them. There were hundreds of hive beetles in here when I opened the lid. This colony is also extremely light enough that I put some fondant on them yesterday, and they're already eating in a ½ inch on the edges of that. They've still got a good population, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix them in time or not. That plane just dropped something. Sounded like seed. It landed on the roof of the barn. I don't know what in the world he's doing. Spreading wheat by airplane is what it looks like. Interesting. First I've heard of that being done around here. Shot OAV in this yard yesterday. See if we got a problem or not. Ooh, that's really clean. That's a Corey Stevens VSH Virgin. Green pen means I'm going to follow up with a UBO test in the spring. They're a low mite hive. They're gentle and fun to work. That one's got several. But it's not too bad. I had several the last time I did this too. Ooh, that's pretty good there. There's a few. Not bad. Not bad, not real good. I'd expect this little nuke to have very few. And they do. Another one of those VSH virgins. Looks good. That looks pretty good. Ooh, they've caught a mite bomb. Yeah, they didn't have near that many. So yeah, they caught a mite bomb. We'll red pen them. They'll need some remedial treatment. They'll definitely need some remedial. If they're VSH enough, they may pull through, but I don't want to take a chance on it. The benefit of this system using IPM is I don't have to lose any colonies, or very few, because of high mite loads, but I can still keep some mite pressure. Well, I would say that Swiffer sheet has worked pretty well. It's been well worth it. They've still got a lot of beetles in here though. Man. I need to refresh that. So this hive that went queenless late in the year, I combined a nuke into here, and they have released the queen. I put the queen in a candy cage in the nuke when I dropped her in here because there were more bees in the existing hive than there were in the nuke, and I wanted to slow release that. And I just checked, and there's my marked queen. So this was a success. She's laying it up. Looks good. She looks like she's actually fattened up since she got in this hive. I think maybe she knows that she can lay more now since she's got bees to keep it warm. So she's doing really good. It's nice when things work out. Yep, I've had some issues with beetles this year. Yards in the shade are a lot worse about it. This is actually better than it has been. Some of the things I'm doing, I think, have started to work. I'd say that one worked pretty good too. I don't know why some of these work so much better than others. It's like different hives chew them up differently or something. A lot of hives just propolize them and they don't do a whole lot of good, but some of them catch a ton. Don't sting me, bee. That's not nice. Same deal. Shot this yard with OAV yesterday, going back through and checking the remaining 4 yards. That's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem there. So they'll need some remedial. And you can line the mites up like that by scraping it. You've got an issue. That one doesn't look too bad. That one's got too many. I'll give it a red. Hard to see on these, but that actually doesn't look too bad. Of course, this hive was queenless and went through a brood break, so that doesn't surprise me too much. I've got a bunch of ants and quite a few mites. So I'd say this whole yard's gonna need continued treatment. It's not good. But this is an outyard. Over time, my worst get moved to outyards, so my outyards have more mite pressure than my drone flooding yards. I don't want high mite hives in my drone flooding yards. Got several hive beetles there, but very few mites. They had a grain on the last one, they're gonna get a grain on this one. The only problem with that hive is they like to sting me. I haven't red pinned them yet for that, but they're working on it. That's way too many. Yeah, they're gonna need continued treatment. That's a nuke too, they shouldn't have that many. Not terrible, but not great either. I've had some people tell me that these little ants will carry the dead mites off and sort of skew your results. That's why I'm looking after 24 hours. This hive does not have a problem. I see a few dead mites there, but it's not that bad. So this yard's got more of my VSH virgins than any other. That hive right there is going to get UBO tested in the spring. That's a potential breeder. They had low mite load. They're gentle, and they draw comb well. They don't have a lot of beetles. That's just like general behavioral stuff. This colony here didn't have a red pen before. They've now got 2. That means they need a remedial treatment. They have picked up a mite bomb from somewhere, or they just didn't get any control and they don't have resistance. That's not good. They won't make it through winter like that. Yeah, that's a lot of mites. And this colony is feisty. They had a high mite load before. They don't look as bad now, so they may actually have some resistance, but being feisty, they're not going to be considered. That little nuke right there has a high mite load as well. I'm surprised by that. It's relatively young. That's too many mites for a hive that size. I don't know why. So this is my oldest bee yard, and I think it's my most resistant. That's a breeder queen from this spring. They've had 4 good mite checks in a row, and they're gentle, and they made honey. That is not a good sign for that hive. They're going to be busted up. Another long-term good hive. Another one right here. 4 positive mite checks in a row, and they're big enough and heavy enough I put a nuke on top of them to winter. That's a good sign. I like that. That one got cleaned up with OEV. They may have some VSH. All 4 of these are VSH virgins. So I'll probably UBO test all of my Corey Stevens VSH queens and see which ones have got the highest UBO score. And of course I'll test the best from my colonies as well. Well, this is now officially the worst in my entire operation. I've been through everybody. I believe that's a 2-day drop now on 1 dose of Oxalic. And I know they've got deformed wing virus. So this hive is, like I said, the worst in my entire operation. They might have pulled in a mite bomb, robbed out another hive somewhere. I don't know. They could have fooled me when I was doing Oxalic during summer and just snuck up on me. Doesn't really matter. You know, they are what they are. Doesn't matter how it got there, except to inform my management decisions in the future. Anyway, I'm going to drop some formic in here. Now, I'm leaving for 4 days. I'm going to Orlando tomorrow, so I can't continue doing Oxalic treatments on them, and they need something strong. They need help now. But we're going to be 79 tomorrow, and then it's going to start cooling off. So I'm actually going to use 1 strip, and I'm leaving the foil backer on that was pioneered by Randy Oliver, and it can help with the temperatures. You get this big spike of formic release in the first 48 hours, and this helps slow some of that down, so it makes it a little bit gentler, but seems to still be just as effective. When I come back in 10 days to do the second round, I probably won't use the foil because our temperatures look a lot better. So we'll get to it. You know, building this operation, you've got a million things to do all the time. Many things that need my attention. And that's not including 2 kids, one of which has pink eye and I've got to run to town and get some eye drops for, and the other one's running a fever today. My sister's watching them. A lot going on. You just have to prioritize. I get overwhelmed sometimes and don't know what to do. Where do you start? If you've got too many things to accomplish in a day, where do you start? Obviously, family's at the top of the list. Cash flow has to be at the top of the list. If people are wanting to give me money for honey, that's going to move on up. Hive health is extremely high on my list. These hives that have high mite loads, they're going to get dealt with. Hives that don't have enough food, they're going to get fed, no matter what. Because if I don't have bees next spring, I don't have a business. I feel like I'm being a pretty good steward of the bees right now. You know, I've got information on mite loads on every colony. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 that are troublesome, 1 that is going to crash and die. So I think this one I gave Formic Pro. The other ones I think I can handle with some additional oxalic acid treatments. They are high, but they're not that bad yet. So I think I can get them knocked down some and then come back in December around the solstice and do my broodless. Hopefully it'll be broodless. We may never be broodless completely here in Tennessee, but they'll be brood reduced at that point, and do a couple of treatments then. So I think I need to order some more fondant. I really do like that Hive Life fondant, and the bees are eating it really good already. And we've got cool weather coming up. I could mix some 2-to-1, but it really takes heat to do that, and I don't know that my pump will pump it. So these little light nukes, I may prefer to just stick fondant on them and, you know, check them in a month and see if they need more. That's pretty easy to do. Well guys, that's going to be it for this one. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you on the next one.